Are you a fan of King Von?
Hey, music wise, yeah.
Yeah.
I fuck with a couple of his songs.
How did you feel when you heard King Von was shot and killed in Atlanta?
Not saying that I was wishing death on him or anything like that, but I predicted that shit was gonna come because like this was Duck they talking about. Some shit is, I mean, it's Duck you talking about. If in the streets, like, I mean, to my knowledge, not saying I know anything or nothing like that, but to my knowledge, if you did something to somebody who's like the main face or someone who's real known and supposed to be loved, something is bound to happen in your people too because they gonna want revenge. But at the same time, that ain't what happened. He died into the hands of some other motherfuckers who he was who to the whole world's knowledge because the whole world saw this shit on camera. Nobody knew he was into it with these motherfuckers either. And then when that shit happened, that shit was shocking. Like, damn, like we had a feeling that someone from over your people was finna die, but we didn't know it was with you to the hand of some other niggas that's not even from your city. That's from like however far they is from away from your city. That's how far they is. They come, y'all just happen to bump into each other in Atlanta, and then boom, you died trying to fight this nigga. And the thing is, you the main face. Meaning you the breadwinner, because he a rapper and everything too. He get money. You not supposed to be the one fighting. Whoever's your security guard or whoever you keep around you that's not a main face or not 100% known like that, that's their job. You see someone they don't like, you tell them to go get them. You tell them to go get them because at the end of the day, you know, like everybody know what Von rap about and everybody know he was real on what he stood on. So with that being said, why would anyone want to fight you? You was a killer. I'm scared. Like you would be scared to fight a killer because you would think that nigga's intention is to kill you. And that nigga was lacking. The nigga he punched, Quando Rondo and shit, he was lacking. That's why he didn't see that shit coming and got his ass beat. He could barely defend himself. And on top of that, the rest of them niggas coming through, they finna stump this nigga out. Oh yeah, it was about to be game time for this nigga. This motherfucker come out the cut and then just shoot him. And at the end of the day, that shit fucked up that it happened to Von, but he's not wrong for what he did. That's self-defense. And on top of that, you protecting the brand, which is something that his homies should have been doing. They should have been protecting the brand and not letting Von die. They should let whoever else go up them, even though they didn't think that shit was gonna happen. But if it happened, they would have took the L later. But then it'll still be better than Von dying because he the breadwinner. He putting on for this whole team. So why let him get himself into any trouble where he could possibly fuck up and then y'all gonna be stuck? Type shit. So when he died, I wasn't surprised that I wasn't surprised that he was going to die. I kind of predicted that shit, but at the same time, I didn't think it was going to happen to these motherfuckers with the involving these motherfuckers. Rest in peace, Von.
Hey, some drunk nigga, man. I think his name is Charleston White, man. He's been going crazy on the internet, man. He said that Tim did God's work by killing King Von because King Von was allegedly a serial killer. What do you think about Charleston White?
I mean, I ain't heard nothing about Von being a serial killer. I heard about what he did, supposedly, because I don't know, to my knowledge. But at the same time, I ain't hearing about him being a serial killer. But even if he was a serial killer, God would not want nobody to die, he would not send supposedly an angel to kill a demon, folks. So he probably don't. So like, if he supposedly read the Bible or whatever it is he thinks he do, he don't know it well enough. Cause why the fuck would God send somebody to kill a motherfucker? But the reason why he died was because like Von was supposed to be internet beefing with YoungBoy or whatever, and they had their little disagreements. Von was saying, "I'm into YoungBoy, fuck YoungBoy, all this type of shit," but then he playing his music shit. Nah, I fuck with him. So niggas was confused. They didn't know if he was beefing or not. And Quando happened to be signed to YoungBoy and shit. And like Von thought because like which he probably was right on. He thought that Quando was a bitch. And because he think he a bitch, he think he can just beat the fuck out of him and bully him like how any other nigga in the city would. But at the same time, just because you got what you got going on, don't mean everybody's going to be scared of you. There's a lot of people that will be, but that don't mean everybody would. So what they gonna do? Defend themselves against your ass. Don't come off like you the biggest nigga in the room. So that being said, when Lil Tim killed him, it was not God's work. That was him just doing what he thought was right, which defended him. He wasn't scared to do it. That's why he ain't hesitate when he did it. So with that being said, that nigga don't know what he's talking about. he only saying that shit because after all them interviews, niggas was probably Vaughn fans were coming at him, or maybe some niggas from OTF was coming at him, and then he just wanted to troll these motherfuckers. So that's what he did. He trolled.
Do you think Lil Tim will be convicted?
No, that was self-defense. All he was doing was protecting the brand. And even Breezy himself said it in 2 different interviews. Lil Tim is not wrong for what he did because he protected the brand. That's self-defense. Keep in mind that niggas from Vaughn fans and niggas from OTF don't like him at all. But whether they like it or not, he's not wrong for what he did. He just did self-defense. So even though they make it a case out of this situation, which it's even though because they got it on camera and everything, they made a case out of this situation. They're gonna come to the conclusion that it was self-defense because Vaughn attacked them first, and because he attacked them first, they did what they thought was necessary, which was defend the brand. But they didn't know who it was. They probably what they said. They didn't know who it was. They probably thought it was a random ass nigga. And they found out who it was the next day. But at the end of the day, folks, like as far as them getting convicted about that shit, he's most likely to beat that shit because it was self-defense. He was defending his brand. That was probably his job. That's probably a job that niggas ain't know about, but niggas don't like either. So if he gets convicted for that shit, it's stupid because it was self-defense. But if he beat that shit, hey, even they'll tell you that shit he ain't wrong for what he did. Breezy saying he ain't wrong, so and this nigga who don't like them at all, he dissed them in songs and anything. If he's saying they ain't wrong, then you know it ain't cap. It's the streets. But at the same time, majority of the fans is not street niggas, so they ain't gonna accept that. So, he ain't getting convicted for that shit.
Let me ask you this.
Go ahead.
If you could bring back somebody from the dead to help work on your album with you, could be anybody, could be Tupac, could be Michael Jackson. If you could bring back one person to help work on your album, who would that person be and why?
When you said Tupac and Michael Jackson, that really did sound like something awesome, bringing back some iconic motherfuckers just to finish this shit. But I wouldn't pick them. And even though I want to say my friend Jisky that passed away not too long ago, I would bring him back because like he my homie and everything. I had to go with Young Pappy. Young Pappy was raw as hell. Like anybody who listens to a Young Pappy song, know he never missed. And his shit was so fucking hard, bro. You will play that shit to this day. You would treat all his old shit like it's his new shit. Like his birthday passed not too long ago. I played his whole 2 Cuts Part 2 album. That shit feel like it's a new song already. I mean, still. So it's like, I'll bring Pappy back, man. He's just too fucking cold. Too cold. He should have been on.
I'm glad you brought that up. How did you feel when you heard Young Pappy was killed?
Pappy being killed. That was somewhat tough because at the same time, like this was all 2015. I was like, what, 12 years old when that shit happened. So it's like I didn't know how to feel about this shit. Like with the Lil JoJo shit, because at the end of the day, Pappy wasn't my homie. I just knew about his music. He was cold. But so it's fucked up at the same time. How the fuck I'm supposed to feel? Like I ain't cry about that shit, but at the same time it was fucked up. And I still listen to his music to his day. So it's like, damn, boy, this nigga really gone. He could have made it. He's not supposed to be dead. But it happened. So it's like, what can I do about it? Rest in peace of Pappy. That shit should have never happened. But at the same time, he could have left the streets alone, folks. And this is the thing with all rappers too. If you are a rapper out here, you should know that you can't balance the street life and the rap life. You gotta put this shit down and put this shit up and focus on this and this alone. Everybody who knew Pappy always said he was about what he was standing on for. Everything he rapped about, he lived it, he spoke on it, and nobody would say he a bitch other than his ops and maybe some other motherfuckers who didn't like him. But so with that being said, if he would have threw all that street shit out the window and then just focus straight onto the rap, he would have got on. But at the same time, you never know what a motherfucker, how you can't control how a motherfucker really thinking. He is his own man. So him being a man, he still was probably trying to in the process of trying to figure this shit out because he was in jail and he got out not too long ago before he died. So it's like he's probably trying to figure out how to do all this shit back over again. And then when he died, he ain't had enough time to he ain't have enough time to react to save himself, or he ain't have enough time to, make the decision to leave this shit alone. So, with that being said, when he died, I just didn't. I wasn't sure how to feel about him. Like, I wasn't sure about crying, or I wasn't sure about like, damn, this shit hurt like a soul, or he should. But I know that he should have took off. So,
Right.
rest in peace, Pappy.
All right. Let me ask you this, man.
Go ahead.
Do you live on top of a fucking firehouse or a police station or something? Because I keep hearing sirens in the background, man. It's like fire and went by, man. Like, what the fuck, man? Is people getting shot? What
I mean, I ain't gonna lie, folks. Ever since I've been in this motherfucker, I always been hearing it. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? It's not no shooting going on. It's not no carjacking or robbery or none of that shit. But it's probably because like they probably have all the fire hydrants and shit in the area that I'm in, and they probably just send this area. I mean, firefighters or ambulance. They probably just send them to go wherever they gotta go to get these motherfuckers, and then take them to the hospital. They can come back to the same place. That's probably what it's at. The area that I'm at is probably like where most of this shit is at. That's probably why.
Okay. All right, so there's a Lil Durk lookalike that's on the internet, man. I think his name is.
Oh man, that nigga's a goofy folk. Go ahead. The reason why I say that Lil Durk clone is Perkio is a goofy to me, not because I got anything against him. It's because before he became who he became, that Ruger dropped that song GD Anthem, and there was a TikTok trend to it. They was like, Trump should have free Larry. Fuck is wrong with you? All that weird ass shit with their mouth and their eyes and all that other goofy ass shit. I ain't participated in that challenge. I just seen it. That's why. But he was one of the motherfuckers participating in that shit. He had like a fro. He ain't had no dye in his hair. He ain't try looking like Durk then. But at the same time, motherfuckers knew it was him. TikTok will leave your at in that motherfucker. If your at says your name and you and this motherfucker, yeah, niggas know it's you. So then like that was back in September. Yeah, I think September, because Ruger dropped Treaty Anthem in July, and then September is when that TikTok trend came out. Excuse me. And
wait a minute. All these niggas that's been on the internet saying that he's an innocent guy, he really is just a lookalike. All them niggas are wrong. This nigga was really trying to start shit with the GDs. And,
I mean, I wouldn't say he was trying to start. I wouldn't say he was trying to start shit, but it's just like you was participating in some GD ass shit, rapping the GD Anthem, regardless if you're a fan or not. You was participating in that shit. Not saying that you had to pick a side, but you was a fan of these niggas. And that's what majority of those the OCF fans is. Like, they'll be a fan of their ops, and then they end up switching over being a part of their ops. And then when they get recognition from OCF, they continue to overdo it. And that's what he did 5 months later after he did that Lil Durk lookalike prank in the mall. And then when Lil Durk gave him recognition, he went live with Lil Durk, and he started popping out with Lil Durk at shows, all type of shit. Then when that 6ix9ine shit came about, that's when he got started getting impressed about being with that Lil Durk clone shit and taking it to the heart. And then that's what he do after that. He started rapping after that. It's like first you went from doing TikToks about being a GD about that GD Anthem shit. Not saying that you was GD or nothing, you went from doing that. Then you went to being a Lil Durk prank, lookalike, fake tattoos and all. Then you go live with Lil Durk after he's seen that shit. Then you post up with Lil Durk. Then you get pressed about that shit by an infamous rat, and now your ass feels sorry about that shit. Like Lil Reese himself said he don't even fuck with that nigga no more, because why the fuck is you in this bitch looking like Lil Durk and all that shit and getting pressed by a rat? Then that's when he started rapping. So
let me ask you this.
Go ahead.
All right, so it's a fake Drake out there and it's a fake Lil Durk. Should the fake Lil Durk catch real repercussions for looking like Lil Durk because of who Lil Durk is and what Lil Durk talk about?
Hell no. And I say that because at the end of the day, he's an entertainer. He's a TikToker. The shit that Lil Durk got going on, it shouldn't have nothing to do with him. But at the same time, like, you always gotta be that. Like, if you're smart, you always gotta be that motherfucker that think like, if I do this, what's gonna happen? Is there any consequences? He should have known that acting like Lil Durk might be potential consequences, and that potential consequence was 6ix9ine. He should have been prepared for that shit. And quite frankly, from when he was in that beef with his homie and 6ix9ine about that shit, he was prepared for that shit. He just ain't think that it would go bad for him, because he got paid to post up with 6ix9ine. And then all that shit happened. Now he looking and feeling stupid about that shit.
Did you see the video where the white dude who allegedly set up the Lil Durk lookalike, where he gave him some cash and some jewelry and all of that?
Yeah, I saw that. That shit was funny as hell when I saw it too, because I knew that nigga that Lil Durk clone was going. I knew that Lil Durk clone was gonna act like he didn't want to do that at first. But the whole time he did want to do that, he just didn't want to admit it.
Wow, so you think that was payment for him doing the video?
Hell yeah, that was payment. You talking about the video when the nigga gave him $7,000, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was definitely payment for him doing that. I don't know if he got paid before or after doing that, but he got paid to do that shit, and he took that shit. He took that shit like he wanted it. He took that shit like he was excited to have it. Like that was his first time he got paid $7,000 in his life. He wanted that shit. He knew that shit was coming.